Harry Kane. I think we all need to have a discussion about Harry Kane. He is one of the best finishers we're ever going to see. His instinct, his movement in the 18-yard box, it's some of the greatest we will ever get to see in football. But is he a winning footballer? Because I think there's a big difference between a world-class finisher, a top striker, and a winning footballer. This is all coming after his just pretty dire performances throughout the Euros, and to give him credit, I do think he is injured. I believe he did injure his back at the back end of the season with Bayern Munich. However, I do think there is an aspect of being detrimental towards the team, and it's just this politics within football management that all of us regular Joes will never be able to get our heads around, because it would just be so intertwined within the training camp and within the offices. We'll never know. But it's like with Roberto Martinez, with Ronaldo. I think Portugal could have probably got through past France if they played Diogo Jota instead of Cristiano Ronaldo. However, they didn't, because Roberto Martinez dropping Ronaldo would have been a cardinal sin towards a lot of Portuguese fans and Ronaldo himself. And I think that is something that we're seeing with Gareth Southgate. I think all of us England fans, we think we can manage the team better than he can. I think it's pretty obvious that we are a better team without Harry Kane on the pitch. And we've got the Euros final tomorrow, and I really do think we're going to win it. But we saw when Ollie Watkins came on, that is a world-class finish that he did. That is such a hard finish to take it off Cole Palmer like that, on the turn, and he just buries at the bottom corner. And unfortunately, Harry Kane hasn't proved anything near that in this tournament. Yes, he's got 3 goals, I believe, and, he's got a penalty. He got a header in the round of 16 game. You can watch it with your eyes, can't you? He is nowhere near what we need as a striker. And even when Ivan Toney came on earlier in the tournament, his hold-up play is just better than Kane's. He's bigger, he's stronger, and I think he holds the ball up a lot better. And Ollie Watkins is obviously just a lot faster. He's great, off the back of the last defender, and he's brilliant in that sense. And I don't think it's a massive coincidence that Harry Kane is 30 plus now, and he's never won a trophy. I think he definitely could win one tomorrow, and I really hope he's at the forefront of it, because I think he is a model professional. He is a role model to kids, and I think that is a great thing. But I don't think it's a coincidence, because people like Olivier Giroud, he couldn't shine Harry Kane's boots, in my opinion. He's nowhere near the player he is. However, I'd class Olivier Giroud as a winning footballer. Everywhere he's gone, he's won trophies, and he's been a massive part of that. Look against England in the last World Cup. He came up with a massive goal in that quarter-final to win the game. And I just don't think Kane really does that. There's so many metrics nowadays that you can determine how a player is doing. His XG, his movement, his progressive passes, all of this stuff. And I think it is brilliant. However, I think there also is a thing of players maybe shying away from being that main guy. It's not necessarily bottling it. It's just taking it by the scruff of the neck and going, I'm going to drag my team to win this game. And unfortunately, when we have needed him the most this tournament, I don't think he's been anywhere near what he should be. Look at it against Holland. He was awful against Holland. He was absolutely terrible, in my opinion. He keeps on dropping deep, and this is a constant frustration with football fans. Harry Kane does not need to drop deep for England. Harry Kane needed to drop deep for Tottenham when, Mourinho was working with him, because Son was playing off the back of the shoulder and they didn't have midfield. Whereas we have some of the best midfielders in the world. He needs to be in that box. I think we saw it in the Champions League as well. Champions League against Real Madrid. Harry Kane wasn't really anywhere to be seen, especially at the Bernabeu. And yes, I don't think Tuchel should have taken him off in that game, because, again, he is just such a clinical finisher that you could argue, well, it's always good to have him on the pitch. But sometimes he just doesn't offer anything up front. You don't want to class it like in a FIFA game, a video game. You don't want to just go, well, you need pace and strength, but sometimes you do need pace and strength, and he's not necessarily the strongest, and he has no pace. So if you want to play him behind, he's not going to get the ball on the back of the defender. And if you want to play hold-up play, then especially defenders nowadays, against Virgil van Dijk, he's not going to win any headers. I think one of Kane's tactics is to draw a lot of fouls, which, yes, I suppose tactically speaking is good because it pushes the team further up the field. But in my opinion, it slows the game down, it slows the momentum down. And when you have quick players like Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Ollie Watkins in the squad, and you're playing with a player like that, I think it does slow the momentum down in the game, and it is a bit of a negative for England. I think there are tons of players that are world-class players or world-class talents, but aren't match winners, and it will go throughout history. I think if you look at, for example, Mane and Salah in their primes for Liverpool, they had a great front three, and I think Salah probably is a better player than Mane. However, I think in terms of a match-winning situation, I'd always back Mane to get a goal rather than Salah. And I think that is the case. I think Southgate really should play Ollie Watkins or Ivan Toney. If you think about it, we are playing against the best defensive mid in the world. It's the best defensive mid we've seen probably since Kante when he was at Chelsea. And if Harry Kane is in the midfield, I don't think he's going to get any joy. If he's in the box, however, and if he decides to be a striker, just get on the back end of these crosses that are inevitably going to come in, then it's a different conversation. But he's not going to, because that's not the player he is. Spain have vulnerabilities in their defence. Dani Carvajal has been playing fantastic, as has Marc Cucurella, but those centre-backs for Spain are not top quality. Aymeric Laporte is nowhere near the player he was at Manchester City a few years ago. Lenormand, I believe, from Real Sociedad, he'll probably be back for this game, so I think it'll be him and Laporte starting with each other. But Harry Kane, he's so much better than these players. So prove it, be that match winner, and this is probably his moment, because if he shies away in this final, you talk about legacies, it gets thrown about all the time. I think it's a huge thing for his legacy in this game. He's played against Man City in the League Cup final. Yes, they were a massive underdog, but he didn't do anything. He played in the Champions League final against Liverpool, and I know this sounds a bit silly, but in my opinion, as captain, he should have gone, I'm not fit enough for that game. Lucas Moura, who just got a hat-trick in the semi-final, should play, and I should come off the bench as an impact sub. And I know that's idealistic thinking, but if you know you're injured and you're going into a final like that in 2019, you should have probably taken your ego aside and realised you weren't up for it and put the informed player in. But I'll tell you what, the way Spain have been attacking, I don't see how Ollie Watkins can't start in this game. France really could have won that game against Spain the other night. If that was Mbappe in full steam of form, France would have won that game. When he cut in and he booted over the bar, we've seen Mbappe finish that 99% of the time. But I guess we'll see. I really think England can win this game. Just do what they did against the Dutch in the first half an hour, and I think the Spanish will be completely taken by surprise. Do what they did for the rest of the tournament, and I think it could be 2-3-0. I'll say it one more time, I just hope Harry Kane turns up and he can put everything to bed, because he is a fantastic all-time player. But I've said it once, I'll say it again, I just really want him to turn up, because I want him to put this reputation to bed of him not turning up in big games. Because unfortunately, he's probably keep on going to get called a big-time Charlie. And I don't think he is, but at the end of the day, when you keep on not turning up in a final, then that's what people are going to think. But let me know what you think about Kane. You can't deny his talent. There are big game players, like a Drogba, for example. He might not be as good as maybe a Sergio Aguero or Luis Suarez, but Drogba's probably the best big game player in Premier League history, football history. And I think, unfortunately, the jury is massively still out on that for Harry Kane. But if you could leave a comment, like I said, if you could leave a like, and if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. But thanks for watching.